Chairman, have we got it yet?
Let's just verify.
What's it on?
Go to the Village Greenwood Lake. Or
Just waiting to check with the feed.
we should see if
I see,
you see us?
You got it?
Thank you. That real-time feedback, thank you.
All good?
Yeah.
Okay, today's date, 21st. Okay, I would like to call to order the Greenwood Lake Village Board meeting for the 21st of May. It is now 6:07. I'd ask you all to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a couple of announcements. First one, I'd just like to extend the boards and most of the villages of residents in the recent passing of Toddy Trezino unexpectedly on Mother's Day. John is a trustee on the board, and him and his wife are both very active in our community, and she will be sorely missed. I just wanted to recognize her this evening. Okay, roll call of board members.
Trustee Clary? Present. Trustee Sele?
Here, present.
Trustee Giusino is absent. Trustee Veth?
Present.
Attorney Tull?
Present.
Mayor Howley?
Present. Okay, very few things on the announcements. The beach typically opens Memorial Day weekend, which is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. When I found school was out about a month ago, they gave them an extra vacation day. We were gonna open up on Friday. I'm taking that back. It's gonna be mid-50s and rainy like today. So the beach will not open on Friday, but it will open on Saturday as previously discussed. If you wanna pick up your beach passes on Friday, we will have the booth open between 10 and 3. Now, you don't have to rush for your beach passes. They'll be there whenever you go for the first time. That's where they'll be kept for the remainder. So you don't have to do a mad dash to get them tomorrow if you don't like, if it doesn't fit your schedule. Okay, correspondence. We have 4 letters that have been distributed to the board. Anybody from the public would like to read correspondence, you can view them at Village Hall. Visiting elected officials, I see Floyd D'Angelo, town councilman. Anything, Floyd? Anything to? Okay, thank you, Floyd. Reports of boards and department head. Parks Department and Grounds Maintenance, Brendan Colasar. I'd appreciate anybody, as this meeting progresses, if you come up here, we get much better audio feed than from your seat. Thank you.
Alright, so for the month we've been pretty active doing spring cleanups, mowing, mulching, garbage collection. We assisted with a well repair at the water plant to get that well back online. Installed the docks and the ropes at the beach with the PD. Started up the water in the beach bathrooms. Repaired the rotten floor in the bathrooms at the beach. Mulched Village Hall and the beach. We repaired a crosswalk sign that got hit by a vehicle on Windermere. Got the planters ready, planted all those, installed them. Mulched the kayak launch. Mulched the gateway by American Legion. We're working with the PD on the electrical for their new cameras. Fixed the well pump by the community garden. Repaired light fixture at the bus garage. Helped move some stuff around for the flooring project up here. Fixed the sink at the community center. Fixed the TV at the senior center. Put up all the flags and veteran banners. And serviced the weed harvesting equipment, so it's ready for the season.
Thank you, Brendan.
So that's the month.
And Windermere Avenue looks a lot nicer with the baskets and the flowers.
Absolutely.
Great, appreciate that. DPW, Bill Rowe.
We've had a busy month, doing a lot of blacktopping now. We have hot stuff in between the rainstorms. We've had a lot of water breaks we've helped fill with. We're doing the catch basins now, which, when we can, we're doing leaves on Thursdays, and, just working,
I think June, Florida brings a truck in, correct?
yes.
Yeah, then
Well,
make
this month we'll be using our own, and then in June, I think.
Oh, okay, okay.
We have
Yeah,
one
you're
more-
finishing
one more
out,
day.
man.
One
Right.
more Tomorrow.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, Bill, Bill's always on how to get a hold of you.
Oh, and we
and,
got the door fixed on the ladies' room, it shouldn't happen again.
Okay,
The lock was bad. I got
Okay.
that fixed, so that shouldn't happen.
okay. Thank you, Bill. If I
Okay.
need you, I know how to get you.
Where was the lock first?
At the Woods Family Park ladies room. Police, Chief Adam Iron.
Good evening, everybody. For the month of April 2025, the Greenwood Lake Police Department handled 1,031 blotter reports. We conducted 291 traffic stops, issued 101 traffic summonses, handled 2 motor vehicle accidents, issued 3 parking summonses, responded to 26 check welfare assist citizens, along with 31 medical aided calls, and 3 arrests were executed. We had no use of force incidents for the month. Our average response time for the month of February was approximately 3 minutes. We've had no new hires, no rehires, and no retirements, resignations, or terminations. Our fishing derby will be held at Senator Moorham Park, located at 7 Windermere Avenue on Saturday, June 28th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The annual Greenwood Lake Street Fair will be held on Saturday, June 14th. As usual, Windermere Avenue will be closed just south of Chestnut Street to Jersey Avenue from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. Expect congestion in and around the area. The DCJS equipment grant for 2025, we received the funds for that. We are working on and plan to reapply for the DCJS equipment grant for FY26. We have no budget transfers. We will end up under our allocated budget for the fiscal year. I'm happy to report that. Public correspondence, we have enforcement update on our initiatives to combat speed and erratic driving on Edgemere Avenue. From 3/1/2025 to 3/31/2025, we conducted 93 traffic stops and issued 48 summonses. From April 1st to April 30th, 2025, we conducted 46 traffic stops and issued 26 summonses. We've been receiving complaints of erratic driving on Elm Street. We have deployed the village speed sign and will be more vigilant in this area. Greenwood Park, we met with the Warwick DPW and discussed signage and paint markings. They plan to have it completed by the end of June. That is the end of my report. Any questions?
Oh, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Water report. Water operator Phil Landreau couldn't be here tonight, but for the months of April and May, the department handled its usual daily, weekly, monthly sampling and testing. These testing things have to happen all the time due to DOH regulations. They did have an electrical issue with well E, as it would intimately trip out, interrupting the treatment and production. It turned out to be a broken conduit with some damaged and exposed wiring, where a contractor in the past had pulled the line during an upgrade, back in 2008 actually. The repair was made by Y Nuts Electric. The well is back in service with no issues. Miller Hydrologic is waiting on the water table to drop in Victory Acres around the Caisson well, so an adequate pump test can be conducted. I happen to live back there. The water level is extremely high right now. Once the pump test is completed, it will be submitted to and approved by the health department. Then the next step will be to install the necessary pumps and piping to bring it into the treatment facility as an additional water source. The county health department is also reviewing Delaware Engineering's treatment plant upgrade capital improvement plans for approval in order for the village to begin breaking ground in a sorely needed and much anticipated redesign project. This has been in the making for a couple of years. As you are well aware of what the reason you're here tonight, when you're dealing with government agencies and permitting between DOH and DEC, it's painstakingly so. Same with this water treatment plant. But they have everything in their hands for at least 2 months now, so we're just waiting. We have the capital funding in place, the ideas in place, all we need from DOH, Department of Health, is their stamp of approval to make this happen. All summer water systems are fully operational, and the department would like to thank the town DPW for their assistance with a multitude of summer water repairs, as we always have. Water main service line repairs as well. This concludes Phil's water report. Okay, trustee and office reports. Trustee Polari, start with you.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. I would like to share a few updates from around the village, highlighting recent activities and upcoming events for my liaisons. The Greenwood Lake Public Library, it's going on, renovations are underway to improve accessibility and overall functionality. That includes a new exterior ramp for the wide room and interior updates throughout the building. The library offers a wide range of digital resources like e-books, audiobooks, and streaming services through platforms such as Overdrive, Hoopla, and Canopy to access their books digitally and remotely. The 2025-2026 budget was recently approved, and the next trustee meeting for the library will be on Thursday, July 17 at 7 p.m. Everyone is encouraged to attend. Their Mom and Tots Playground Children program continue on Wednesdays from 10 to 11:30 a.m. and registration for the summer reading program will begin in June. For the Greenwood Lake Chamber of Commerce, the annual street fair will take place on Saturday, June 14 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's still availability for vendors who are interested in participating. You could reach out to the chamber or check their website to register as a vendor. The comedy night is planned for July. We don't have a date, but just keep your calendars open for the first Greenwood Lake comedy night for the Chamber of Commerce. As well, very exciting, November 3rd through November 9th, the village, supporting the chamber, will be hosting the first restaurant week for the village of Greenwood Lake. As for the Greenwood Lake Union Free School District, the 8th grade graduation will take place on Friday, June 21st, and we congratulate all the graduating students. The 2025-2026 school budget was passed last night with 198 votes. And congratulations to David Clifford on his re-election and to Kevin Holder on joining the Board of Education as trustees. We thank them both for their service and dedication to the district. May 28th is the middle school spring concert, and May 30th is the middle school semi-formal dance, and June 26th is the last day of school for this year. Greenwood Lake Senior Center. The Senior Center remains an active and welcoming place for our older residents. They offer yoga and Zumba and bingo throughout the week, and on Wednesdays, a free lunch service for all our senior residents. On May 2nd, the center celebrated the 96th birthday of one of our beloved seniors, Bridget Hughes, to which we wish a happy birthday. A casino trip to Resort World Catskill is being planned for Wednesday, July 3rd. For those who want to attend, please reach out to the Senior Center for more information. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Polari. Trustee Selye.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. So my report will begin with the building department, and this is for activity in the month of April. The building department collected a little over $11,000. 75% of those fees that were collected were attributed to building permits and permit renewal fees. The building department was very active also in the month of April. New permit activities, so new applications that came in. There were 19 of them. If you look at the permits that came in, the construction and improvements that were submitted amounted to a little over $200,000. 15 new permits were opened in a month, and 4 permits were actually granted from that activity that came in April. They also closed out 14 permits in a month of activity, 12 certificates of compliance, and 2 certificates of occupancy. So that's sort of an indication of how busy the department is and how busy the individuals working that department are. 4 complaints were submitted. It resulted in 4 violations: unregistered vehicles, an unsafe residence, and property maintenance. The ZBA and planning met once in the month of April. They actually 2 assigned dates. There was an agenda for one of them. It was an application that was held over from a previous meeting. It's a construction project on Jersey Avenue. A number of different items were discussed and shared with the applicant on additional information that was required. they adjourned the meeting. We kept the public hearing open, and the applicant is now responding to those additional items that were requested. There are 2 dates in the month of May that are scheduled. One passed, and there was no meeting. That was the 13th. And the second date is May 27th. One potential applicant may appear before the board. Comprehensive Plan Committee met in the month of April. At the end of the month, we did meet. We focused on the initial draft of the survey. For those who have been following, the first step is gathering input from the community on the areas of focus, as we call it, that will be addressed in our next comprehensive plan. An example of those areas of focus include transportation and pedestrian safety, family and housing, and economic development. There are actually 7 of them, just giving you the flavor of what the areas that are being focused on will be visioned through that comprehensive plan. The next step really is finalizing that survey and then getting it out to the public. We're working on coming up with a number of strategies to get as much input as we can from the public, right? So you have a seat at the table, so as to speak. And we are working on scheduling our next large group meeting. We have subcommittees that have been formed that are meeting. Subcommittees have different areas of focus that they're really targeting and focusing on. So we're meeting as separate subcommittees, and we'll come back together as a large group to kind of share ideas and comment and provide feedback. So really the next step for the public that's watching is you will get a survey in some form. There are many forms. We're working on different ways and methods and mediums to get it to you. So do really look out for that. Just do stay plugged in. Do take the time to fill it out, because all residents, right, will be impacted from what that comprehensive plan, what that final product is. No updates on economic development in the month of April. Nothing really notable in my report. So that ends my report.
Thank you, Trustee Selly. Trustee Vett, your report.
Thank you, Tommy. Good evening, everyone. News from the organizations. The American Legion Post 1443. There's a couple events coming up this weekend. Saturday, May 24th at 4 p.m. at the Post is an Americana music session. It's like a music session with local musicians, very good. It's open to the public. Their Memorial Day service will be on Monday, May 26th at 2 p.m. at the Post. They're also running a July 4th barbecue and raffle. That's Friday, July 4th from 1 to 5 p.m. Tickets will be available at the street fair and also at the Post. The Greenwood Lake Elks, they are running a ticket raffle for 4 Yankee tickets with access to the Delta 360 Club, which is a very good deal, plus a parking pass. That game is on Monday, August 25th, Washington Nationals. Tickets will be available at the street fair. The Community Charity Day with the Cornhole Tournament is rolling along pretty well now, where we've contacted, we had some good feedback from the Chamber of Commerce. Everybody seems to think it's going to be a fun day. We're still contacting some organizations and working out the logistics. The Lions, they will be at the street fair on June 15th. The Lions will have a booth to sell 50/50s, and they also have a membership recruitment. And the last thing I have is on the IT audit and review with the communications and technology systems. We're working on some issues down at the DPW. We also have some moving. We're going to move some equipment around in the front office. And then I'm going to be going around checking stuff for the police. I think they might have some issues with the phones, so we'll be checking on all that. And that's my report.
Thank you, Trustee Vett. Attorney, anything?
Nothing to report publicly.
Thank you. Clerk Holder.
Taxes will be mailed out at the end of May. To not incur any late fees, they need to be paid by June 30th. The concert scheduled is complete. It's posted on the concert schedule Facebook page. There's copies in Village Hall if anybody would like to see them. Our first concert will start on June 28th with Voodoo Strangers. July 5th is Ladies of the 80s. July 12th is Elvis. July 19th is Some Guys in Abroad. July 26th is Vinyl Tap. August 2nd is Hudson Blue. August 9th is Hudson Valley Jazz Quartet. August 16th is Black Dirt Bandits. August 23rd is Irish Night at the Beach, sponsored by the Gaelic Culture Society. August 30th is the Mighty Spectrum Band, and September 6th is Dark Horses. This year we decided to showcase local bands that reside within the town of Warwick. Because of everything that we've been through this year, we wanted to keep it local. Also, beach passes, as the mayor said, are Mitzi has been putting them all together. They'll be available down at the beach by last name. Will be on the envelopes. An email was sent to everybody that had an email on their application, as well as a Facebook page post. And we've also been working on events in our parks and in our buildings that people have been booking. If you need any notary, please come by, and Holly, myself, and Mitzi will be happy to help you. End of my report.
Thank you, Clerk Holden. Okay, going into old business, comprehensive plan, Trustee Cellier spoke about it. But we do have a meeting on Friday morning, small meeting with the higher end of the committee, with the senior planner from the company. She's overseeing this whole plan. So as they break out into smaller groups and have their own meetings, this is the person that watches everything, oversees everything. She's very talented. She's very smart. She has a good vision for the future. So we're hoping that this whole comprehensive plan comes to fruition. But we're not looking to rush it. A comprehensive plan is something that you want to have a vision 15, 20 years down the line. It's not something you want to do in 3 or 4 weeks. That's why we're going to get a lot of public input, opinions, bring it all back to the committee, and then bring it back to the public. So it's going to take a couple of months, whatever it takes. There is no date that we're looking to have it done by. We want to get it done right. You don't do this often. It costs a lot of money. So we want to dot our I's and cross our T's as best we can. I'm going to go a little bit out of order. Beach passes have been spoken about 3-4 times. You understand that. Farmers Market will begin the Saturday after Memorial Day. That's May 31st. It runs to October 25th. We're currently working on providing what we have in the past as far as market bucks for those in need, and also to implement the SNAP program, so people who are involved with the SNAP program, they can buy their produce and stuff at the farmers market. And the street fair, again, as everybody said, June 14th. I'd like to also note that it's also Flag Day, so wear something patriotic. That's on that. Okay. Lake treatment. Let me bring you up to speed as best I can. It's consumed my professional life the last 6 weeks. Believe me, it has. I've talked to a couple of people in person, on the phone, and I've been on the phone with the DEC. I was on the phone with the DEC like 3 times today. I'm on the phone typically with them 3 times a week, and with Tigris, who is the applicating company that will put these herbicides into the lake. First on Tigris, a very experienced fellow, knows our lake as good as anybody does who doesn't live here. He has a good feel for the situation. Now he knows what's going on, because I've talked to him ad nauseum, but he can't do anything until he's told to do something. As far as the DEC, this is what I got up to date this afternoon, actually, from Regional 3 Supervisor in Charge, Kelly Tratoro. Let me go back a second before I give that. Just give you a quick history. It's a Freshwater Protection Act, which has been around for many years. It was amended in 2022 by the state legislator, not the DEC, the state legislator. It took effect this January. What this does, in in a nutshell, it kind of deems any kind of surface water to be assumed wetlands, okay? And that's what threw a monkey wrench into not just us, every lake in the state. Now, some lakes, some ponds, all wetlands. We don't believe that they should be designated wetlands, but that's what the cards were dealt with to the DEC. When it first started, we had our permits, I want to say in early February, sent in, which is really, really early because I wanted to be ahead of the game. Everything kind of was put on hold because they were still trying to determine, facilitate their agenda on how they're going to handle it. By doing what they did, they compounded the amount of applications to do things, not tenfold, 100-fold. They expected to receive over 400 to 500 applications for the same thing that we are trying to do. Now, not everyone has the severity that we obviously experienced this spring. So that being said, that's it in a nutshell. It's going to regulate many other things. I know everyone is here tonight for the weeds and the water chestnuts and stuff, but just so you have a little history, it's going to affect building on a lake. It's going to affect moving soil on a lake. Just putting shed up. If you have lakefront property, it changed the dynamics. As Eric knows, yeah, he's dealing with us on a project that he's working on, but I think he's in good shape because right from the beginning we're fine. So this law enacts many things, but what you're here for tonight is what's important to us. Excuse me. Okay, so we finally had to, I think we submitted them 3 times. So last time we had to resubmit, that's when the 30-day window starts. Once the permit applications are accepted by DEC, excuse me, it's a 30-day public waiting period where the general public, we had to put it in the newspaper, they had to go on the DEC website. That gives the general public 30 days to say it's great, it's not great, it causes cancer, whatever their concerns might be. And it's a law that they cannot even move an inch on. I found out the other day that once we receive the permits, we have to give them 7 days notice on when we're going to do the permits. And that just boggled my mind. So the DEC, here's what they're going to do. As of this morning, they are going to issue us the permits this Friday with all the parameters of what we can use. You know, I'm not anticipating any problems. What we can use, using it where we want it. We'll have them in hand by close of business Friday. Now, we still have to wait until the 30-day period is over, which is June 6th. On June 6th, they're going to issue us the freshwater wetlands permit, which will allow us to put it into the lake. Now, the reason this is good, and I spoke with Tigris this afternoon also, we get the permits Friday. Well, he actually gets them, and he'll send them to us. I've already made a date with him. Now he knows he's good. He can get his herbicides in order. He can make his plan. He will come here the week of the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, whatever day. He will ride around to all the areas in the past that he has treated and new areas. Like I said, he knows the lake relatively well. And he will come up with his game plan, so to speak, on where he's treating, how he's treating, how much he's treating. You know, it's a science. So by us getting the permits early and still can't use them till the 6th isn't just like, oh, well, what good is it? It's giving us the opportunity to get our plan of attack in order. So knowing the state could be a day late, instead of implementing on Monday the 8th, if there's a snafu on Friday and we don't have them, I didn't want to have it scheduled for Monday, and then this guy can't come back Tuesday because he's committed somewhere else. So I chose Tuesday the 9th as the day that he's going to actually do all the spraying. I like to be an optimist. This whole process has kind of jaded it a little bit, but I want to let you know, that's the timeline right now. June 9th is when we're scheduled to implement these herbicides. I do want to say that Kelly Tratoro from the DEC has been nothing but a help to me and us as a board, as a village. She explains everything. She's frustrated. I will say this also, that whoever made phone calls, whoever wrote letters, they heard them. I think that's kind of, and on top of me being a pain in the butt, calling them constantly, I think that's what got them to truly, truly realize the importance of getting this in sooner. We don't have a day extra to spare. And I think that's kind of why she went ahead and did what she's doing, to get us these permits in hand, basically a week and a half, 2 weeks early, so we know we got them now. You know, my biggest fear was they have them, I haven't heard back, and like every day goes by and I haven't heard back, and then finally I have to call up because like they say, no news is good news, but I don't want to waste any more time. If there was an issue in the permit, if something wasn't dotted correctly, I didn't want to have to wait, and they said, oh no, you were missing something here. I wanted to be on top of it as this 30-day window was in operation. And she told me this morning again, everything is great. She has not heard anything negative from the herbicide group within the DEC, and that's why she's going to go ahead. And she said on the 6th, when I told you the fresh wetlands permit will be issued, she says I'm going to have somebody with the computer ready to hit send as soon as the clock stops ticking. So that's the best I have for you tonight. Obviously, if you have any questions, if I've addressed it, I don't want to be redundant, but if you have anything else, I'll gladly answer it. Hold on a second, sir. So with that being said, I think I covered everything I wanted to cover as far as going forward. If you're going to speak, I'm going to implement as we have in the past. I'd like you to come up, just speak into this microphone, and we're going to have a 3-minute. It's a 3-minute window. Okay, each speaker has a 3-minute window. Okay, sir. And when you get up here, just give us your name slowly. Sure. And your address, if you could. Well, that's what it is. I apologize.
Need your name
I'm
in.
trying to be less.
Oh no, you have to be less.
Yeah, this one.
Oh, sorry.
So you
Hi.
can stand a little taller.
Thanks for that update. It was extremely helpful. Obviously, we're all
Of course.
very nervous and concerned about it. My name is Michael Grenert.
Spell your last name for me, please.
Grenert.
And
Our house is
address?
at 85 Sterling Road. So we're on the East Arm.
Okay.
It's as you know, it's a disaster. Can't use the boat. So my questions really were primarily two things. One is what's the update on the harvesting?
As you started speaking, I said
Okay.
I didn't touch harvesting, so I'll answer you. Okay,
Okay.
harvesting. We haven't harvested in the arms in the last couple of years. Harvesting, because of this wetland stuff, I'm not going to hold you to this time. Harvesting also needed different permits. We had to engage in mapping because they're never going to let you harvest everything. They just won't. So we took past history. Brendan over there is our harvester operator. We sat down 2 or 3 meetings with our engineers. We hired an engineering firm to navigate this for us because we didn't want to just wing it. We understand the magnitude of this, and that's why we brought on professionals. So we took some drone footage, we took old photos, we took big maps, and we delineated around the shorelines what we felt was an adequate amount without pushing the DEC. If you go to the DEC and ask for 100%, they're going to tell you no. So basically, it's where do we find that common ground? So we put as much in as we thought would suffice, and I was told by our engineer this morning also that it was commented by the DEC head that it all looks good. You didn't try to overstep your bounds and all that stuff. So I'm feeling very optimistic on that. He had to button up a few things, and that permit's going in on Friday, but that doesn't have the nuances of herbicides. We have just purchased a new weed harvester, $137,000 grant from Senator Skoufis. So now basically we have a small, medium, and large. Basically the large one we're using at North Arm because of all those
Right.
water chestnuts and stuff like that. The new one was given us it was grant by Skoufis' office, which will give us the ability to go into the shallower ends, in by docks, get closer to the shoreline where we were prevented by the larger ones. So we have 3 pieces of equipment and a guy who's very talented. And the reason I'm not rushing that, not that we're not rushing it, we wouldn't harvest for at least 2 weeks after the chemical application because
You see what's
it
left.
would be futile because now, according to what I'm told, that they want the herbicides to attach to the plant, so it kills it and drops. But once that happens, we're not typically in the past we would hire another company. They'd come in once, they might come in twice in the whole summer. We see something growing, that's Brendan's job for the day. Oh man, it looks like the North Arm's getting beat up again. He'll hop in and spend 6-7 hours in it. We want to do by DeFeo's because we have emergency equipment there. But I'm hoping that the herbicides take care of a lot of this. But we're going to have the ability to harvest in a much bigger area, almost up to, not up to Chapel, but almost past out of the arm.
So between 17A
Yes,
and
will
Waterstone
be
is
harvested.
included.
Will be
Okay.
harvested, yes.
Okay.
Our original permits didn't.
Yeah, original
Get it.
permits, we were only good for the North
the
Arm.
North Arm.
We're good for the North Arm until December, so we didn't have to permit for that this year.
I see.
And we're cautiously optimistic that we'll get a 3-year permit, but because I don't think we will, only because that'll give, if they give us the permit for this year, we'll deal with this year. But now they'll have a year to regather their thoughts on how they want to do things. Excuse me, if we get lucky, it'll be 3 years. Yeah, I want it to be 5, but
Right.
and once we get it, then anybody's welcome to come in. We'll show you the maps if you choose of where we're permitted to do this harvesting. So.
And that same question on the herbicides, that includes between 17A
Oh, yes,
and
yes,
Waterstone.
yes.
I
Oh,
figured.
yes.
Okay.
Undoubtedly, that's where most of the herbicides go.
Right.
Up, basically they'll come up the arm past the Emerald,
Right.
make the right, Greenwood Park Beach,
Right.
the Village Beach, go around the corner to the Windermere Park Beach, and then come right up.
Go under the bridge.
Going right,
Yeah.
well, making a right, then coming up by DeFeo's and stuff like that. Because we know where they are. I mean,
Yeah, I'm thinking the east arm, but like Waterstone.
oh no,
Bridge. Yeah. Okay.
bridge right up.
I see.
Well,
Okay.
He's gonna come right out of there. Yeah,
We were never permitted to put herbicides north of the 78 bridge.
yeah.
Right, but this time we're
This time
hoping
we
that's
will.
going to
That's,
get
well, our
approved.
herbicides were always in the east arm and
Right,
the west
right,
arm
right,
only,
right.
and in front of the beach.
Last question, because I'm sure other people have
Not a
questions.
problem.
What's the expectation about doing a second round of herbicides, like later in the summer? I know in the past it was done. It wasn't done last summer.
That's assessed. This guy will come back, and then plus we watch it. I mean, public input is great. I mean, I don't have a boat, but I do look at it every, basically every day. So if there's a proliferation of more weeds, we'll call him up, and he comes back on his own because he wants to see. Like he'll come back if he puts him in on 9th, he'll probably come back on the 23rd, 24th, 20th, 23rd,
Right.
and take a look. He's going to survey everything he did,
Right.
look for other hot spots,
Okay.
or once it happens, I think I'm very optimistic. But once it happens, and if you compare last year to this, now you guys all live in the lake, it happened faster this year than last year.
Right. Right. It's
It
the
truly
worst.
did. We thought
Yeah.
we were good, man. February, I said we got this.
Yeah.
And then I guess maybe that 10 days of warm weather in March must have thrown the plants a loop. And I haven't heard complaints this early, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm not saying complaints, but
Right. Right.
yeah, we need the input. That helped me step on the gas even further.
I know I said last question, but
Sure,
one
go
more.
ahead.
I know you said it was very helpful that people contacted the DEC. At this point, do you think you need any help from us doing anything that would?
I mean, she commented on it. That's why I echo that.
Right.
She's, you know, she said, you know, and I think Rich might have went there or called up Rich. She said a marina owner. I thought of you first, and a marina owner called up.
Yeah.
You know, she said we understand it, and I really truly think it helped. Okay, listen, Greenwood Lake. But originally, I'm going to give you the original letter. Once you submit the permits, we will get to them within 60 days.
Right.
I got ill to my stomach.
Right. The whole summer's
Yeah,
done.
the summer's gone. Then you might as well not even do it.
Yeah.
So it truly did, especially at the end. And again, we stayed on top of it. Matt Vett is a former Lake Commission person, you know, so he's been on it. He's been putting out some. I let Matt put out a lot of information on Facebook because he knows it a little better than I. But I mean, I'd love to say we're doing it tomorrow afternoon.
Right.
But that's the best I got. And
All right. Well, thank you
and
for all your efforts.
no problem. I appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. Anybody else privileged the floor? Yes, Barbara. Come on.
Thanks for coming up.
Can you come up? You okay to come up, Barbara?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't dance, but I can.
Okay. This is Barbara Aarons. I'll say your name for you. The reason we like this because that was one of the little gripes. The people at home really had a hard time listening. You know, from the come on, listening from if you speak from there. This makes it a little better for everybody.
I wasn't always this short.
Barbara, what's your address, please?
That's 18 Starlight.
Thank you.
I know that this is a done deal at this point, but I don't understand how they can make us wetlands without us fighting back.
Okay.
Okay, this is,
Well, it was a New York State legislator.
No,
wasn't
I know.
No, just so you know, it wasn't a DEC. It was a New York State legislator.
and which is, first of all, it boggles the mind, though. I've been a bit out of commission, so for the last few years, and because of health reasons, but it seemed like nobody knew this was happening. And of course, we are a town without a newspaper, which is really sad, because not everyone gets something from Warwick and reads it. But do we just sit back with this, or can we file some sort of a complaint?
I was going to give Part B in a few minutes, but
Okay. Well, I'm always in
do you
a
want me
hurry,
to give
you know
Part
that,
B
Tom.
now? Okay. I'm working a couple of different angles. I think what's unique about Greenwood Lake, and there are other bi-state lakes, but not many. So I think we're pretty unique. And again, speaking this morning with Kelly, she wants to, as soon as everything revolves around getting these weeds sprayed. Once that happens, then we can sit back, and she wants to sit down, come down here, and go over, it's called the Watershed Implementation Plan, which we've had in the past. We want to resurrect that. And what that does is, we know the problem. We know where the problems are. How are we going to deal with them long term? Okay, now to dealing with things long term revolves around a lot of money. But she said, I'm privy and I know where we can apply for grants just for this stuff. And I will help you navigate that entire process. So that's being that. I'm also going to speak with our senator and assembly people and the governor's office to maybe get some sort of exemption or some sort of, because we are a bi-state lake. Now, water doesn't know boundaries. So if West Milford is dumping in 100 gallons of chemicals or pesticides in Warwick, and West Milford rather, you know, it's the same lake. So that's another angle I'm trying to work to either get it completely off the thing or come up with a long-term plan, you know, so.
Because in that arm, we have businesses, we have livelihoods.
No, I know,
You know,
it's
not
serious,
just
no.
our personal
Yeah,
thing, and
no.
I've been up here a long time, and we have done more than tried, but also the government hasn't listened to us
Yeah.
too clearly.
When they, I can't guarantee anything. I assure you that when they made it, they weren't thinking about one particular body of water. You know, because the Adirondacks, Lake George, all those lakes, they have an Adirondacks Park Commission that I think is even stricter than the DEC. So
Well,
that's their
like
problem.
George, you know, like
You
George is
know,
unbelievable.
but we do, I didn't want to get too far into the long range until we can get this short term fixed this month.
No, I
And
understand.
then we can take a deep breath, and then I have a couple of people in mind. I would like to form a little committee, and we'll sit down with the DEC and come up with a plan, almost like a comprehensive plan for the lake that we're doing for the village, because it's here, it's not going anywhere, and we don't want it to turn into a true wetland.
Yeah.
So that's our goal. That's everybody's goal.
Well, the one thing I learned yesterday at the commission meeting is that if we wait too long
Oh, I know.
with the chestnut,
No.
and it's not like long.
No. When I say long, I'm talking about
No,
next
I know
month.
that.
I'm not talking about
Yeah,
like,
but
we'll
I'm
take a year
talking
off
Weeks, because
Yeah.
evidently, once they get to a
to
certain
a bloom.
point,
Yes.
then you've
Yeah.
got baby chestnuts
Right.
all over.
Yep.
So, and it's not that far away.
I know. We're close.
And can we move that quickly? Can we push that quickly? Because otherwise, we've got to
Yeah.
let them.
Yeah.
We've got to let them grow. Well, either way, let them spread.
Yeah.
So, and also, I feel that, and not only as owners, but we work very hard to take care of this lake, and many times because of the lack of drawdown, unfortunately, because the drawdowns did help. We all got into the mud and did our thing, but I've never seen. I'm here over 50 years.
Right.
I've never seen anything like
Yeah.
it. Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome, Barbara. Thank you.
I'll just dance back.
Take your time. Yeah. So again, just for if anyone else wants to speak, that's the game plan. I don't know how it's going to work legislatively, but Kelly Tratoro, and she's the boss up there in Region 3, which is out of New Paltz. She said, I want to come down there because she knows the lake. She's on the lake commission, so she's aware of our problems, and she said we will strategize, do the best we can to figure this out. We'll get the minds who know the lake better than I, and try to come up with a solution that's going to take us, down the road for a long time. So, yes, Eric.
We got 1 minute?
Yeah, sure. Come on up, Eric. You have to raise it, yeah.
Mayor, Council, Eric Hastings, 32 Edgemere Ave. I cannot tell you what Brandon brings to the table. I worked on all that equipment, and you do not know how lucky you are to have Brandon.
Brendan, and I do.
Okay.
Okay.
The guy is a godsend to that equipment. It hasn't been in the condition it's in now, and I've been hands-on for many years. It has not been in the condition it's in now for years, and it wouldn't be without.
Well,
without that guy.
if you remember, I'm sure you do, when we got that equipment from us, the two big ones, because they couldn't figure out how to fix them. So we said, we'll take them.
I towed some of it
And-
down here personally.
Yeah,
It's,
and 5 days later, we're in the lake, and know what they want? They want to borrow it. But we did agree to that.
with
so.
with
With a caveat,
with a
yeah,
good
yeah.
operator,
With a good
a
operator.
bona fide operator.
So anyway, we,
All right,
we're in good shape
on that.
equipment-wise.
Regarding Jim Martin is probably the biggest authority on the water chestnuts right
Yes.
now in this area. There is a three-pronged approach that's been the most successful, and it involves herbicides, mechanical removal, either harvesting or hydro rake, and hand pulling. Obviously, we don't want to hand pull when their herbicides are being applied.
Correct.
But you need all three of these, and you need 100% area coverage. The DEC, when this legislation, by the way, is in direct contradiction to the EPA rules, and I bring your attention to EPA versus Sackett. The EPA lost, and the legislation that the DEC, state legislation, is in contrast to federal legislation, and many lakes in the state, in New York State, are bringing them to court to fight this. What Greenwood Lake does is up to the council.
Right.
But we need this three-pronged approach to doing 80% of the area. One water chestnut plant, one plant becomes 20 very quickly. 20 becomes 400. 400 becomes 8,000. 8,000 becomes
Figure it out.
160,000. And you won't be able to get boats. People here are already locked. They can't have their boats. We go from, I live over on Edgemere Ave. We can't take the boat up and park at the docks and walk across to Scoopy's for ice cream. So it's already affecting commerce. The marina is almost landlocked. I mean, you cannot wade through a thick patch of water chestnuts. It is an emergency. Lake Apacong had water chestnut problems in their lagoons. Lake Apacong has a center lake, and like a clover leaf, they have lagoons around the perimeter. And several of those lagoons over the past few years have been totally closed down. They had to lower the lake and dredge the lagoons to get access. And they have to be diligent every year about it. We're gaining last year, thank you to Brandon, we gained a lot of traction last year, and we're losing it this year. That North Arm hadn't looked so good as it did last year in years. It would look beautiful.
It'll look good. Last year, just to bring everybody's memory in order,
great.
we did not put the pesticides down until June 27th. I have it on my calendar. That's when we applied herbicides last year, just to put it in perspective. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't make it any better, but because it was such a bad year this year, I just compounded it. But
if they're not going to let us take 100%, we're spinning our wheels. We are going to lose traction as a community, and we're going to lose the North Arms. We have to be able to treat 100% of the area north of 17A Bridge and between the two bridges. I don't know exactly.
The way the herbicide permit was written, we can treat as much as we want, I'm understanding, in the north part of the arm this year. Would I swear on it right now? No, but if my memory serves me correctly, if the permits come back the way we asked for them, we should be able to treat up there with herbicides everything. I hope my memory is right. But then we get in there and we make them channels again. And when I talk about long term, we're talking about hydro raking. We're talking about other things. But again, if we can if we get legit grants out of this with a couple of zeros on the good end, then we can really take care of a lot more. Obviously,
the merchants are going to need help this year because they're blocked. Some of them can't have all the boats there already. And
that's why everybody's here tonight. I get it, Eric. I appreciate it.
Right.
And we talk. I talk with Eric all the time. So
you guys know the rest.
You know. Does anybody else want to add anything? Yes, sir. In the back in the blue shirt. Oh, Anthony, I didn't see you. There was a shadow. Anthony Paterno. Something on 10 Nike Avenue.
47 10 Well, I'd just like to echo what this gentleman said. You said that they were going to survey, and you won't get 100% for harvesting. I can't think of 2% of between the two bridges, between 17A and Waterstone, that does not need to be treated for herbicides, and somehow the weed harvester, looks like 100% has to be treated.
Well, it's going to be treated.
But also the weed harvesting, you said you won't get 100% allowance for weed harvesting.
Correct. All right. Correct. But if the herbicides do what I'm really hoping for,
right,
and what I was told will, it'll be. Last year, if I remember, as bad as it was when we put them in on the 27th, 28th of June, I remember a week later getting phone calls. Wow, what a difference! What a difference! What a difference!
It's dramatic.
So, these are the dates, and hopefully.
And also, just to clarify, you're going to have a smaller weed harvester in the arms that can approach the shoreline better.
Correct.
Because that has been an issue.
Correct. No, that was the whole purpose of it. Was to get something. Even if we didn't take over the ones from West Milford, and this same company would come in and harvest, they would harvest the channels in the North Arm, and where they could get with a big harvest. Because obviously it can't be in super shallow water, even though the North Arm is shallow, whatever way it works. So last year, Mayor Buckley took Scoofus out on the lake, showed him around. gave him his little wish list, and he came through. It's absolutely a lovely piece of machinery. Brendan we sent him down to Florida to go to school for it, so he knows how to operate it, knows how to work on it, and we have it. And it's brand new, so I'm not anticipating any
A
problem.
year or two ago, you were looking to see if people would volunteer to operate the machinery, but you're not doing that.
Not right now. Not right now. If it comes to the point, we will. But we have we also hired an assistant to
Operator.
Brendan, and he hasn't operated yet, but he will be our backfill guy. So between Brendan and him, I think we'll be able to cover.
Okay.
And if we do have to put a help wanted out, I won't be shy.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Okay.
you, Board.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Anthony.
Can I just add
Sure,
two
sure.
things? Well, I don't need to.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
turn around so they can hear me. No, no. What Barbara had said, there's two things that are happening now in the state. They're trying, I think it's in committee now, there's a bill. And the bill exempts inland lakes which are navigable and have an area of 150 acres or more, which is us. So that was the big change in the law, was the size of the body of water. It was only small bodies of water that they deemed wetlands. Then they basically said all inland lakes are wetlands. So this law they're gonna try and pass needs support. So if anybody, I see some of the names are familiar, that's on Facebook, that's on Jim Martin's page. He has the letters all drawn up, and you send them out, mention this bill. The other thing that I did when I filled them out is I mentioned that if you look at the lake, all of the marinas are basically off of the arms. So all of our commerce that way with marinas are on the arms. I mean, Willow Point is really on the west arm. It's at the end of the arm, DeFeo's, down by where Richie is, the Emerald. We're all in the arms, the marinas. And I told them they need help. If the marinas go, everything goes. So the other thing is there's a lake, and I'm terrible with Indian names, Lake Chautauqua. They've started a class action suit. Is that how you say it? Chautauqua. Okay, thank you, Eric. So they are fighting. We just have to figure out after we get through this basic crunch this year what the long term is. We have to make sure that everybody supports this new bill so that we get the exemption to make it easier going forward. And if there's some kind of a class action suit that maybe at a given time we say, hey, you know what, we got to join it. So, I mean, that's something we'd have to legally figure out what would benefit us as far as that's concerned. But there are people fighting.
And every opportunity I have, when I meet with the senator and the assemblyman, I'm going to bring it up every time. I don't care if we're at a breakfast somewhere. I'm going to bring it up. I would like to just say, about 3 weeks ago, I was sitting home and everything was just wasn't going good. I wasn't happy with what I was hearing from everywhere. And I called Skoufis up. He called right back. I called Brabenik up. He called right back. Now, obviously, I can't call the governor, but I called the governor's person who I can call. And within 2 hours, at 7:30 at night, on a Thursday night, I got a call from the DEC. So I know what we're doing might sound futile. Okay, I'm writing a letter. I'm doing this. They listened. I mean, I'm serious. Like, no matter what you think politically, it doesn't matter. Someone rattled their cage a little bit, and I think it's gotten us to the point where we see a little bit of a light, for the next 2 weeks. So, and that's the best I got. Yes, ma'am.
Would it help to bring reporters for the long term? We were talking about Bill Senator.
I'm sorry.
Engage some youth reporters. Would it be helpful?
I apologize. I can't.
The press news to bring reporters.
Oh, news. I apologize. The press. Yeah, I can do interviews and stuff like that. Again, full disclosure, my whole month has been around getting herbicides in this year. Truly has. It's the only thing been on my mind. In the back of my mind was the long term. It's always there. And now once I see this guy leave that day, then I'm going to start, playing that act with the press, this, that. But I don't like to be pushy. I like to do our due diligence, do our homework, and you come up with a game plan and see how they react to it. And so far, it's worked. It's been working. They've been very receptive, even when they're giving you an answer that you don't really want to hear. 30 days, you go, oh my gosh, 30 days. But I think they truly understand our plight. That's my gut feeling, and I'll keep you posted. In my column, I'll keep you posted at monthly meetings, and my cell phone's out there. Call Village Hall, leave me a voicemail. I answer things, so I don't want you to be thinking I'm skirting and stuff. Up front, let's get it done. Yes, ma'am.
Well, hold on.
Oh.
Hold on 1 second. I need your name and address, please. Yep.
Yeah, for the record.
He will say.
18 London.
Okay, you can come up and you can tell me what her name was.
Yeah.
A-N-A?
Kutsina with a K. Kutsina.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi.
And you are?
I am Roderick Williams, also 18 Linden Avenue, Greenwood Lake.
How do you spell your first name?
Roderick.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you've been doing in this emergency situation. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
I would just like to follow up on Eric's point that the management of this problem is going to be ongoing. This can't really completely eradicate it, but the solution would be three-pronged approach. And you've been taking care of two of them. And I was just wondering if you think that the village could help facilitate or coordinate at least the work of pulling the plants out of the lake. There's certainly areas close to shore
Sure.
where the handwork would be better.
Well, kayak, stuff like
Right,
that.
and is it something that we should organize individually, and or the town could help do that?
No,
and
well,
just
we
coordinate
would.
schedules?
Number one, I'm for it. Number two, Matt Vett, I just appointed him as the weed pulling chairperson. No. All kidding aside, Matt has brought this up to me. I like it. Doesn't cost anything, and that will add our third prong approach. So if you can get together with Matt, and we can come up with a date. The only thing we have to just double check on, disclaimers and maybe with the legal team, like liability waivers, just for you have to. We definitely can put something together. If you think you can rally the troops, so to be it,
Yeah,
and we'll publicize it
Sure.
also.
I'd like to try it. Maybe we can do a little something before the herbicides are applied, because there'll be a window when we can't.
So if you can stick around to right after the meeting,
Okay.
if you could, we can exchange numbers.
Okay.
And
Roderick, you helped on another lake, right?
Not around here, no.
I know, but you did.
Yes.
But
Right.
when he came into Village Hall and he
Okay.
discussed how he.
I'm all for it. And if we can get it before the herbicide treatment, using Eric's beautiful math there, if we can get 200 out, that's 400 the next year, whatever the number is. So if you have a little experience at it, we'll sit down with Matt and we'll come up with a strategy, pick a date, and we'll publicize the heck out of it.
I would want Jim in on that too.
Oh, no,
'cause
of
Jim
course.
knows how to dispose
Oh,
of
no,
them.
yeah,
It's-
Jim.
It's not like.
Oh no,
something-
Jim Martin would be the science guy, but Matt would be the trustee liaison to that. Yeah,
Okay.
Jim would be, but Jim knows water chestnuts. You know Jim Martin?
No.
He knows water chestnuts as well as anybody ever knows water chestnuts.
Okay, good.
So we'll get the four of us together, and we got to do something soon now.
Okay, great,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
How you guys doing today? My name's Dave Button. I live over at 14 Linden Avenue.
What was the last name?
Button, B-U-T-T-O-N, like
Okay.
Belly Button or Benjamin Button.
And you said 14 Linden?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you guys very much. You guys have provided a beautiful town for us. Our kids can walk in the streets. Everybody can enjoy the shows. Like, I've spoken to both of you personally, frequently, actually, through the past
We
year.
want them to walk on the streets, not on the lake, though. See,
Yeah.
Yes.
that's why we're trying to get these water chestnuts up.
No, I just wanted to start off by, like, you guys have done a great job with the entire town. I personally love it. I moved up here 8 years ago. Anyway, long story short, my question is actually a follow-up of, I'm actually his neighbor, and I wanted to know, what can people do that doesn't concern, I'm an anti-government guy, so what are we not allowed to do? Like, let's say, for example, I rallied 20 guys up, and we went and pulled the lake, or we went and herbicide the lake, or in a year or two, when it's drained down, we went and took care of the problem ourselves. What are we not allowed to do?
Well, you're not allowed to lay chemicals without a permit.
Okay.
That's why we're painstakingly looking at the calendar. So that's out. I believe anything by hand, like what we would do with these water chestnuts, we don't need to ask anybody anything.
Just do it.
Okay. As far as the drawdown, which is next year,
2026.
yeah,
Right.
I will. We'll have a whole litmus of a list of
There'll be
what
another
what
meeting
will
and
be
we can ask.
prohibited, right?
Because
But-
you need a DEC permit and
You're gonna
everything to
need
do
DEC
any bulkhead
permits.
work and stuff like that, so.
Okay, but anything by hand, we don't gotta
Well-
coordinate with the government. We can just go and do it.
Well,
I
they
mean-
would like you to coordinate with the government so that they're done correctly and they don't spread more seeds.
Yeah.
Sure, but it'll take forever.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you know.
because before we even do this, even though you have experience at it, my next call will be to the DEC tomorrow. And as I'm sitting here now, I'm expecting to say, "Great, go get it." But could they say, "Oh my God, no"? They're not. But could they? I don't know the answer to that. But I'm assuming no. But it's been done in the past.
Okay.
So-
But it's not definitely not illegal though. Just to go and do it.
Well, don't spray anything, please.
No. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't even have any chemicals on.
There's a
but-
fine line.
Yeah.
And if you disturb the bottom, the DEC
Right.
gets a little iffy.
Okay.
So,
Kelly
but-
made a public statement last night, excuse me. Kelly made a public statement last night at the Greenwood Lake Commission meeting and stated that the only thing you don't need a permit for from the DEC is to pull the weeds by hand.
Okay.
So you can't even use like a leaf rake?
That's not by hand then.
That's
Yeah.
not by hand.
Okay.
If they're floating, yes, you can use a weed.
But if I take a rake to the bottom, I'm in trouble.
Yes.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Yeah, you're not supposed
Yeah.
to disturb the bottom of the lake.
They don't
That's
want to
hydro
disturb-
raking. That's what hydro raking is.
Right.
Hydro raking. You look at it like this in layman's terms. You know, weed harvesting is like mowing the lawn. Hydro raking is like digging up your lawn.
Okay.
You know, and that's where
The issue
yeah.
comes in.
Right, without a permit.
Right.
Now, dredging will be part of our, what's the word, watershed implementation project. So dredging is an integral part. I want to dredge the north arm next year. It's been about 5 or 6 years, and it kind of should be done. But, so I'm earmarking at least the north arm, the channels. But long term, we want to get into the west shore and the east shore. That's part of the whole thing.
All right.
So,
Thank you guys for breaking it down to us and being down to earth and putting it on our terms.
I appreciate the comment. Anybody else that can help? Yes, sir.
Mayor, I have a medical condition. Can I speak?
Yes, you can. Just give you can give
I
your
just need your
name and
name.
Cousins, 22 Linden. The lake with the awkward Indian name has filed suit against the DEC.
who's that, sir?
Lake
Oh, the lake. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, okay. Okay, got you.
The suggestion has been made, I believe by Jim Martin, that we enjoin to that suit. It may, if nothing else, allow us to see firsthand the reaction from the DEC against this particular suit. It is addressing everything that was spoken of tonight. It's addressing everything that wasn't spoken about at the commission meeting last night. They are seeking an injunction against navigable lakes being declared wetlands. They've done it in great specific detail, and so my question is, for the legal arm of the body, would it be in our favor now to seek in some way to attach to that lawsuit so that we get first-hand feedback instead of, when you consider your more comprehensive treatment plan, I won't say starting all over again, but at least you got some sort of factual information from the relationship.
Well, it's definitely something I would look into. So if we can get that correct name of the spelling, I will reach out. All kidding. I will, or have Jim Martin reach out to the proper people up there.
I think Jim already has.
Okay.
On Jim's Facebook group, which is becoming, I think, the main reason that many of us are now congregated here to offer support.
Okay.
The lawsuit and an enormous PDF is detailed there.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it.
I'm not saying don't do what you suggested,
Okay.
but I think on that Facebook page there is a great deal of factual information, including my Barbara said, can't we fight back? Obviously this lake is. Obviously I think the lakes that are even further north are going to be fighting back. And I think it might be in our interest to have the word enjoin was used. I don't know what it means, but I assume it means that you join parties and say, yeah, we'd like to be part of this here. That's all.
Good suggestion, and I will look into it.
The second point, Mayor, is among the many, many posts that Jim Martin puts out there was a very detailed definition of this three-pronged approach. He is projecting the ideal time is towards the middle to late June for doing the manual pull. Based on what you and everybody has achieved, does that look like an achievable target date to do the pull?
Well, yeah, but we're going to treat it on June 9th.
There are people already now congregating together to say, well, I'll ante up a boat, I'll ante up a pontoon, I'll ante up my canoes. So there clearly is a popular movement now to say it's something we can do seemingly without the DEC beating down on us because we're not committed to. You're going to do the 9th. You, I think, suggested earlier that nothing should be done for a period of 2 weeks after the treatment.
Well, the person who applies the treatment does not want us to harvest for anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks, at least until he comes and what happens if he applies his herbicides and then 4 days later we start cutting it, when he comes back to assess what he previously did as to see how it worked, he will never have an accurate idea because we'll have cut it. So he wants to take a look and see, okay, because he keeps track year to year. You know, he has his hot spots.
I'm not talking about harvesting, I agree with you 100%.
Right.
Jim is talking about manual pull.
Right.
And many different ways, people going in the water, people on
Right.
you know.
I will ask him. I will ask him that question. You're talking about for the water chestnuts.
Yes, exactly.
I'll ask him.
Exactly.
I'll ask him.
Thank you.
I will definitely ask him that.
Just one question for him. Was there any other window that he offered besides mid-June?
I don't want to speak for Jim because clearly he is extremely knowledgeable about the whole chestnut issue. So when he talks about, like the earlier example,
I can even say
you
that
pull
now.
4, you say blah blah blah. Jim is going down to if we don't do it at the right time, if it's premature, we may get the top layer, but we're not going to get to the root
Right.
layer. So I believe, Mary, you've been talking with Jim.
Oh, sure. He's up in Maine right now. I'm not sure when he's coming
I
back.
would
But
just encourage that
yeah.
he give you that answer firsthand rather than me
Sure.
trying to paraphrase it and screwing it up.
I've talked with Jim about the lake treatment more than I wish I had. But anyway, no, he's very knowledgeable. And also, Kathleen just brought up, even if people don't have boats or kayaks, maybe, just maybe, we can get the Boy Scouts, who I know have about 12, 15 canoes that they use for their summer programs. Maybe we could, use them. So anyway, I will look at both facets. I'll talk to Jim as soon as he's back from Maine, and I will try to get a contact up at Lake Onondaga, and find out, and I'll read it. Now that you tell me it's online, I will track it down and read it, and see if it's applicable. Thank you for your input.
Well, right now, it's milfoil that's the problem. It's not the
Yeah,
water chestnuts
yeah.
that they're all saying.
Right.
Can I ask
Yeah.
our legal counsel a question?
Sure.
I mean, there's a cost involved in joining a class action suit, isn't there?
Yes, I mean, there would be costs associated
Yeah.
with legal.
So we'd have to work them out as well. depending
Okay.
on, you know,
Yeah.
how long
Oh,
it's
no, I
gonna
mean,
be and-
we'll at least do an inquiry, you know,
Yeah.
and find out if it's up to our.
Mayor, if I could just ask one more.
Go ahead.
You mentioned drawdown. Is it a 4-year cycle?
It's 5.
6-year cycle?
5.
Can it be reduced?
Lake Commission, that's the Lake Commission controls it, correct, Eric?
Yes.
The lake,
We
the-
advise the
right,
DEP.
the drawdown, you know, the drawdown doesn't happen if Jersey doesn't want it, because that's where the dam is. So, that's why you had to buy State Lake.
It would be grossly unfair to the merchants on water to do it more often.
Historically,
Mm-hmm.
the drawdown was always spoken of as the great panacea to expose the lake bottom and let cold temperatures get there and kill off the weeds.
Unfortunately, it's
That
not
is-
getting cold enough.
That has never worked. Never worked at all. In the past, Mayor, there was always a statement from your office that said, hey, there's gonna be a general permit, the drawdown will happen on blah, blah, blah. And if lake owners wanna go down and apply corrective action, maybe they got a broken concrete block on the frontage of the property, they can do it. What I'm now sensing is the DEC oversight will not allow that at all, at all. We can't put up a shed, we can't put in a driveway, we can't even put in perhaps certain kind of vegetation on our property. So until we get to the longer term issue of an injunction against this gross oversight by the DEC, what, sir, is the real purpose of a drawdown anymore? It certainly isn't killing weeds. And I fully understand the comment. Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't want to stop anybody getting to a merchant. It does sound like you all, once you've had a chance to speak further with the DEC, are going to have to tell us, the villagers, hey, things have changed. If you wanted to put a pergola up in your garden now, we may have to get a DEC permit or some kind of class action permit is going to have to be defined where you say, I don't want to be bothered because somebody wants to put a raised flower bed. That isn't it. But maybe they are going to strictly interpret, no, if it affects wetlands, even potentially, it's got to come to us for review. One of the last building inspectors here had a very elaborate sense of when things could be done and how they could be done and blah, blah, blah. One of the points he made consistently is fixing your septic system, changing your leach field, is no longer a local kind of issue as it was in the past. As I understood it, any kind of request had to go to Orange County.
Department of Health.
Yes, that was like associating it to the Black Death. It would take months, you'd call, you'd chase, you'd be berating the building inspector here, but maybe that person had absolutely no control. It was simply Orange County. Now DEC is coming with even more onerous oversight.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
So as part of your comprehensive plan then, I'd ask you to be specific and really break it down to until there is some macro change with DEC, what actually can lakefront homeowners do now? Can we apply anti-weed treatments?
Right.
Can we, I don't want to keep repeating.
Yeah.
We're all reacting in shock. Last night's meeting was a horror show. You ask somebody, well, is the arm covered by wetlands? I don't know. How are we gonna find out? I'm gonna post maps online. I looked today, I can't find them. So, the commission has always and will always be New Jersey centric. It's just a fact of life. Everything you see is Belcher's Creek, hydro raking, removing floating islands of logs. Very, very little about the arm. I think there was even some surprise when somebody pointed out, well, no, we have a kayaking center now, and we have a paddleboard thing, it's good. Oh, I didn't know that. So, it would help greatly, Mary, from the New York side of Greenwood Lake, if the comprehensive plan can really detail what homeowners can do and not do. That's it.
I appreciate it. Everything you said was correct, and I appreciate your knowledge and understanding at least our dilemma. Because believe me, if you think you feel it, we feel the same. But thank you everybody for their comments.
Anybody else interrupting?
Yeah, I hope I try to preempt it with a little bit, as best as I could, to answer his questions before. And I think I did. Everybody that spoke, everything was respectful, everything was knowledgeable. So I appreciate everybody coming out and let us know your feelings. And is there one more back there?
You need to come up though, because they can't hear. I'm sorry, they can't hear you. They can't. They couldn't hear
Unless
him.
you really can yell.
They couldn't hear him at home. So, huh? And then we can't do the minutes. So.
Arlene Fauerbach, 8 Linden Avenue.
Put it down a little minute.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arlene.
I don't speak well in front of people, so
Okay.
put my blinders on.
Okay.
You're just talking.
I'm a lifer of Greenwood Lake, born and raised, 1951. My father built a log cabin in Forest Knolls on East Shore. I've watched this lake grow, as you know. We used to get 28 inches of ice. That was not odd. That would keep the weeds killed back and all that stuff. We have very, very light winters now. And even if you drop the lake, it's not gonna kill the weeds. It's not doing what we proclaim, except for bulkhead repair maybe.
Right.
But the weeds aren't being killed that way. I'm a little pepper, grain of pepper. You can see my house from here probably. And I'm on that small little inlet jetty that comes into, towards, past the gazebo. And that's where I am. And if you see me, I'm out there usually every day pulling weeds from the surface, and I bring them to the dump. He sees me all the time. So this year, very early on, the weeds were up on the surface very early. I'm pulling them out, and they are usually about 10 feet long, but there is a new weed. It's more like a mucus, and you can't get it out. It's
By hand.
no, it's like slime, all right? It stays right there, and it holds the weeds in place. So I've stepped on chestnuts because they come up, and I pull everything out with a little screen. It goes right through your boot. That's how sharp they are. They go down. If you take them out the wrong way, they go down to the surface, and they have 9 to 12 years to reevaluate and come back up. So wrapping is what they do. Because it's not plugged into the surface, it's more of a floating root and top plant. So you have to wrap it in your arm carefully, not to shake off the chestnut, and pull it in. So there is a special way to do it. And harvesting, not all weed respond well to harvesting. Some weeds may be able to propagate from fragments that are not removed. So it's like cutting your lawn, and it gets thicker. And that's what harvesting does. Because there is a timing technique. You can't just go out and mow. There is a timing technique that's critical to pull that out, because it will leave the stubs and it will regrow. It's not pulling them out by the root. It's not killing the weed. So when you harvest, those weeds come in by me even, and I am pulling them out of the water because they've been chopped up. And there's a lot of it, and we're drowning in it. That's all I say.
Thank you. Anyone else? Privilege of the floor. Well, thank you all for your comments. Truly appreciated. That'll close this portion.
Go back to this.
Was it?
You do new business or other events.
We're gonna do that now, right? New business. Okay, new business. Right in this alley, we've been awarded a $5,950 LH Prism grant for chemical herbicide treatments for invasive species. So we did get a little bit of money. Now, events. Excuse me. Youth Center scheduled Tuesday nights. Community Center, 51 Waterstone Road, between the hours of 4 and 6 for 2nd and 5th graders, 6 and 8 p.m. for 6th and 8th graders. Zoning board meetings, tentative dates, May 27th and June 10th, located at Village Hall, 18 Church Street, starting at 7:30. Memorial Day ceremony, like Matt said, American Legion, 1443, starting at 2, Monday at the American Legion Post Scott Lynch Way. There's also, for those inclined, there's a parade in the town, a village of Warwick, at 11 o'clock that morning. Farmers Market, like I said, May 31st to October 25th, 9 to 1 at Winstanley Park, Windermere Avenue. We're having another boaters safety course June 9th and 10th, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. located at the courthouse right where we're sitting, 47 Waterstone. For those who don't know, in New York State, any age, everybody, 100%, you have to have a boater's safety certificate to operate any kind of watercraft in New York this year. Street Fair to June 14th, we spoke about. Okay, we're going to go into resolutions. Okay. Resolution number 95 is appointing trustee John Trezino as a village marriage officer.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Beth? I'll second. Larry? All aye?
Aye. Okay, resolution number 96 is a resolution authorizing settlement of a litigation lawsuit and affirming the cost to be paid. Whereas the Village Board of Village Greenwood Lake entered into an agreement with Robert McCubry, Edward Kroll, Cabin 12, Sunnyside Landing, John Sorrentino, James Connell, concerning litigations brought against the village on June 20th, 2024, entitled Cabin 12 LLC versus the Village of Greenwood Lake in the Orange County Supreme Court. Robert McCubry of Village of Greenwood Lake in the same Orange County Court. Whereas the agreement has been reached between the parties to discontinue all claims in both litigations against the village, with payments being made by the village's insurance company to the plaintiffs in full and final settlement as set forth below. Whereas the village board desires to approve this settlement, discontinuing the litigation, and authorizes the mayor to sign and effectuate payment to the plaintiffs. This is a lawsuit that was brought against the village, and the insurance company decided that it was in their best interest to settle it for $20,000. I reluctantly agreed to it, so we're here today to make a resolution authorizing us to enter this agreement. Do I have a motion?
Make the motion, Mayor.
Okay, Stelling?
Seconded.
Beth? All aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 97 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Greenwood Lake and the Greenwood Lake Union Free School District for the provision of police services. We provide police services for the elementary school only. The town does it for the middle school. It's 2 officers a day, 1 officer in the summer. Excuse me. The contract is exactly the same as it has been, but would except for a 3% increase in salary, which would move the police officer. They will pay us like $40.33. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Beth? I'll second. Larry? All aye?
Aye.
All right. And we are going to have a motion number 98 in
Yeah.
a second.
I have it right
Oh,
here.
you have it? I'm sorry. Kathleen has it. Kathleen,
read
go
it?
ahead. Kathleen will read it.
Resolution number 98 authorizes the mayor to provide written notice to all applicable parties pursuant to Village Code Section 40-5 for the property located at 1169 South Route 17A, Apartment 5, Greenwood Lake, New York. Whereas the village building inspector conducted the annual rental inspection for the property located at 1169 Route 17A, Apartment 5, Greenwood Lake, New York, 10925, on or about April 10th, 2025. Whereas the village building inspector determined that the property was categorized as an unsafe building per Village Code 40.1, and whereas the property continues to be categorized as an unsafe building, and whereas the village building inspectors has notified the village board that he has pursued all available avenues within his jurisdiction and has referred the matter to the village board to take appropriate action under Village Code 40.5. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the village board of the Village of Green Lake that 1, the above whereas paragraphs are incorporated by reference. Section 2, the village board hereby authorizes the mayor or his designee to provide written notice to all applicable parties for the property pursuant to Village Code 40.5 and to take all necessary subsequent action under Village Code 40.5. Section 3, the village board directs that copies of each notice be provided to the village board upon completion of the application. Section 4, the village mayor and any officer, employee, or consultant of the village as directed by the village mayor is hereby authorized to take any and all action necessary to carry out the provisions of this resolution. Section 5, this resolution shall be effective immediately.
Heard the resolution, do I have a,
I'll make a motion.
make a motion?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, trustee Polari, second. Who was that? Cellier? Okay, second. All aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I need a, do I have a motion to pay all audited bills?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Beth,
A second?
Polari, all aye?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, acceptance, a motion to accept the minutes of the April 9th village board meeting?
okay, Cellier,
Seconded.
Beth, all aye?
Aye.
Okay. There's no budget amendment?
No budget amendments, we're not going to an executive session. Now I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. The next regular village board meeting is scheduled for June 18th at 6 p.m.
Make a motion?
Okay, Polari,
Seconded.
Beth, it is now 7:40.
We close the village board meeting at 7:40.
Okay.
Thank you
All
very
aye?
much, everybody.
All aye?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.